Well, what I've got hanging from my come-alongs from the rafters of my garage is a pellet stove that I bought yesterday. Got a heck of a deal on it. I only paid $100 for this thing. It was $2,100 new in 2007. The auger motor is supposedly bad on it, and the gentleman that had it decided that it was too big for his house. He said even on the lowest setting it would just roast them out. So he bought whenever the auger motor went bad, he bought a smaller unit for his house, and it's been sitting in his garage ever since, and he wanted rid of it. So yeah, I got this thing for $100, and I guarantee you I'll be able to get it running one way or the other. Haven't decided what I'm going to do with it yet. Thought about putting it in my garage, but also thought about putting it in my house down in the basement. I run a electric heater down in the basement right now to keep it reasonably warm whenever I'm lifting or doing electronics or reloading or whatever. And that stupid electric heater raises my electric bill by about $70 a month in the winter. So this thing's going to pay for itself in no time. Around here in this area, the best quality pellets that you can get that are 100% hardwood are somewhere in the neighborhood of $220 a ton. And supposedly it's well worth paying that extra $20 or so a ton for those as compared to the ones that aren't 100% hardwood. I guess you get a lot more wood, a lot more heat out of them, and a lot more life out of each pellet. So really a ton of pellets for down in that basement ought to last me probably the vast majority of the winter, because I'll probably have to set this on the lowest setting or it'll roast me out down there as well, and I'll probably might not even run it all the time. But haven't decided whether I want to do that or maybe put it in my garage, because I have no heat in here other than a torpedo heater and $4 a gallon kerosene. I just don't purchase unless I have a job that I have to get done, like one of the cars broke down or something like that. So basically in the winter time, ever since kerosene has gotten so high, I just don't work out here. It's right now it's about 32 degrees, and I think according to the thermometer it's about 43 in here. It gets a little bit chilly after a while, and once it gets really cold with snow and everything else, it'll be more like 25 to 30 degrees in here. Then it's really cold. So anyways, I'm going to try and get this thing out of my truck, and I'm going to set it down on my steel workbench. That's why I did build this thing, is for purposes just like this. I can sit on there and work on that thing standing up rather than sitting down, or rather than down on my knees or laying on my belly. I'm getting too old for that. So I'll see if I can't get this thing out of my truck and on that steel workbench. Well, believe it or not, it took me about an hour to fix this thing. So I've got myself basically a fully functioning pellet stove. I don't have any pellets to put in it, so I think it is. But what happened was this lower auger motor, this is set up with a dual auger, top auger, lower auger. On the top auger, if you watch the little line there, it cycles on and off just on occasion. It'll click on, move just a little ways, then click off. I don't know a whole lot about pellet stoves, but I have a feeling just, you can see it just kicked on for a short time and stopped. I believe the way this is set up is you dump the pellets in the auger, this top auger moves a few of the pellets down, and then stops. And then it does that on, I don't know, it must be like a time system, maybe depending upon what your heat setting is or whatever. It depends on how many times that thing cycles on and off, drops pellets down. And then this bottom auger runs all the time. And if you can see in there the little motor actually spinning, well, that was the problem in the past. When I got this thing, that motor was not spinning. And you notice the gear ratio on it is set to where it moves extremely slowly. You just barely see it spinning. That's the one that brings the pellets forward and then drops them down in, and well, of course, then they actually light. That's what gives you your fire. But this guy gave me an extra one of these that he said was supposed to be good, but he put it on and it didn't work. Well, the reason it didn't work is because it was really badly corroded. It must have been sitting on somebody's shelf somewhere, and the bearings were pretty much seized up in this motor, this little motor here. Now, this is the original gearbox that came off of here. I disassembled that, and there was absolutely nothing wrong with it. Everything looked really good, but it still wouldn't spin. And I started looking at it, and I could feel the laminations, and they were getting extremely hot, and you could feel it vibrate really badly. Well, it turns out the coil itself must have maybe a winding in there that's grounded or something. I don't know if it's actually grinding, maybe like a bad spot in it, probably for working too hard. But the coil on this one and the coil on this one measures 13.4 ohms, and the coil on this one here was 14.9. So I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, well, maybe I'll just swap this coil and see what happens. And I noticed the bearings are pretty dry on this particular unit too, so I put a drop of light spindle oil that I use for my South Bend lathe on each end of the shaft and the bearing. And sure enough, it's been running here for quite a while. It's run for, well, probably close to an hour. What happens is, after a short time, you'll get a E on the heat range, basically saying, hey, this thing's running for quite a while and it's not making any heat, and everything shuts down. So I started back up again. But yeah, this thing will probably run now. Now I think the root cause of this is probably these face-mounted bearings in here. I don't know if, I assume that these are a ball bearing or a roller bearing, but I don't think they've ever been greased, the top or the bottom one. And an awful lot of pellet stoves don't have these. They have like an oil-like busher that you don't add any oil to. And this lower auger doesn't turn real hard, but it might be hard enough that it caused that motor to work too hard, that it burned up the, well, it didn't totally burn up the windings where they're open, but I have a feeling it's probably on its way out. So I guess the next step here, I'll probably just post this video the way it is right now, and then the next step is I'm going to get some pellets, drop it in here maybe tomorrow or sometime here soon, close everything up good, and try and light it and see what happens. But I'm not sure if I'm going to rely on this motor or not. I'll have to see how much they cost, but I may still go out and buy another auger motor just because I'd rather have a single reliable. Maybe have this one as a spare in case the other one fails on down the road. We'll have to see. But yeah, this thing, like I said, it was originally something like on the order of $2,100 when it was new, and for $100 and a little bit of work, I think I've got myself a good pellet stove. You can see this is a England Stove Works. What's the model number on there? Model 25 PDV. Manufacture date 8 of 2007. Like I said, this has been in the guy's garage for 2 years, so basically he only ran this thing 3 years. So I can't imagine a combustion chamber burn out or anything like that. But I spun that, I don't know if you can see in there, I spun that auger around as the pellets worked its way out. But he didn't keep up on the maintenance, I don't think, on this like maybe he should have. And that was probably the root cause of his troubles. But yeah, I got a pretty decent pellet stove here. Got to replace the gasketing in the door and on that top where the auger is too. But overall, I think I got a heck of a deal on this thing. And I'll have to see what happens. I might end up just heating my whole house with this thing just all the time. I don't know. But anyways, I'll probably post this tonight and then maybe buy a bag of pellets tomorrow and see if this thing will light off. See what we got.